Madam Ambassador, Madam Commissioner, Madam President, and distinguished guests from across the continent, Ambassadors Booth and Battle, and members of the United States delegation, good morning. It is wonderful to see so many people gathered here today, and as the Commissioner said, to be in a room with so many powerful women from around the continent. I'm honored to join you this morning at the opening of the important forum. I'm especially pleased to have the opportunity to meet and address the many AWEP representatives and outstanding officials on this stage and in the room who have and will continue to contribute significantly to African continent's economic and commercial strength. A couple of weeks ago, I met representatives of the 2013 class of AWEP in my hometown, Los Angeles, California, and I have to tell you that we had a frank and honest conversation, an informative conversation about the utility of AGOA and how to make it a more effective process. I was able to listen and learn about their experiences in developing and conducting businesses. Many of them would like to export goods to the United States, but simply don't know how to access U.S. markets. And I've heard from the opening session as well as today, this reiterated several times, how do we involve more women in taking advantage of the benefits of AGOA? Let me underscore that the effectiveness and success of AGOA reflects the joint efforts of two partners, the nations of Africa and the United States. Both of the principal stakeholders, including all of us here today, have an important role to play, and that also includes myself as a member of Congress. A little over a month ago, President Obama visited Senegal, South Africa, and Tanzania, and during that visit, he announced two major initiatives, Power Africa and Trade Africa, ultimately aimed at strengthening the capacity of Africa to trade locally, regionally, and internationally. President Obama also seized the opportunity to reiterate his support for the seamless reauthorization of AGOA. And one of the things that we are aware of in terms of AGOA is that for AGOA to really be successful, we do need to work on infrastructure issues on the continent. And so that's why I was excited about Power Africa, and I'm co-sponsoring legislation along with the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Chairman Ed Royce. In Congress, I mentioned that I'm sponsoring the legislation, and as I said in an earlier session, I know that the news always covers what doesn't work in Washington, and I'm new. I mean, I'm in my second term in Congress, but one thing that I've been very excited about is that we have a lot of differences, a lot of things we fight about, but there's actually a lot of unity around Africa. And, you know, one of the things that we are trying to do to not repeat what has happened in the past is to do the reauthorization of AGOA, but not to wait until 2015, which is why we're working on it now. Less than 2 weeks ago, African ambassadors to the United States presented a list of recommendations for the reauthorization of AGOA. The group of AGOA ambassadors worked hard to develop a coordinated position in support of the reauthorization of AGOA. The commitment of these ambassadors representing AGOA, participating and inspiring countries, also speaks to African stakeholders and American stakeholders a lot, that a strong AGOA can only serve to facilitate greater trade and investment with the United States. It can be a win-win for both African nations and the U.S. if we truly recognize and seize the opportunity. But it's up to us to fully realize the potential before us. What does this mean for you as AWEP representatives and in your capacity as respected entrepreneurs trading locally, regionally, and hopefully internationally? It means that your platform for doing business on the continent of Africa and beyond is expanding rapidly. It means that you must continue to play a critical role to ensure that your governments draw from your insight and experience in formulating a proactive and inclusive AGOA strategy. It also means that as a U.S. legislator, I must be mindful of the constraints and challenges that you as entrepreneurs must face and help to leverage the opportunities. My travel with my congressional colleagues to several African countries, our meetings with you here today and in the U.S., and our interaction with civil society, the private sector, and the African Diplomatic Corps only help inform our efforts to reauthorize, strengthen AGOA legislation with strong bipartisan support. I look forward to continuing to work with AWEP and to meetings with both veterans of AWEP and the current class of representatives, and I also want you to know that it really helps me in many critical and special ways to be here with you. Thank you very much.